Scott with us as the Phillies get set for a big series this weekend
Scott.
against the Diamondbacks. Scott, how are you?
Doing great, guys. How are you?
Pretty good. Scott, this is the question I have for you. I've always told you every time we talk to you, you do a great job of framing every moment that I hear when I'm in the car with the Phillies. But my question for you is this, Scott. How hard is it for you when you see certain things that happen to kind of pull back what you kind of want to say? Because I feel a lot of times that in certain incidents that there's certain things you want to say, but you don't want to be too heavy-handed with your critique. So what is it? What process do you go through when you try to pull that back a little bit?
Well, I mean, I think you try to simply – I assume you're talking about managerial decisions?
Well, no, I mean, like stuff that has happened on the field. Yeah, I mean, we don't have to, we don't, it's certain, like, let me just say this, Scott. It's certain times that when I hear you, because like I said, you do a great job of painting pictures, that when your silence is deafening. You know what I mean? So I just kind of wonder how is that moment for you?
Well, I mean, first of all, you realize what your job is, and your job is to tell people what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
My job is not to come on and have hot takes. I'm not there for hot sports opinions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm there to describe the game. We are there to analyze the game to a certain extent, and by that, part of my job in that regard is to look at both sides of every coin.
Mm-hmm.
And to look at all the relevant angles of a particular play. It's really easy for us as fans to watch a game and say, that guy should have caught that ball. Well, no joke. He should have caught the ball, but he didn't. And there's a lot of reasons why he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard a lot of people getting on Trea Turner this week. Oh, his throw was bad. He didn't step on the base. Do you guys have any concept of everything that he has to check off in a split second?
Gotcha.
You're sitting on your couch watching it, reviewing it 100 times on video. There's a lot that's going on. Now, look, I'm not trying to say that by way of defending Trea. He's made mistakes, and it's not like the guy tries to make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to get better. And I actually firmly believe I have watched every inning of every game, and Trea is a better shortstop now than he was a year ago. Period. Okay?
No.
He's doing different things with his throws, and it's led to some bad throws, but he's trying to improve as a shortstop. And look, again, everybody can, you guys can say what you want, company guy or whatever, but I am a company guy. I do work for the company.
I guess I'm considered a company guy too, Scott.
When Hugh defends the Phillies, we call him a company guy around here. But you literally are. That's okay. You're a Phillies employee.
But here's the deal. I still feel the need, if Rob Thompson makes the decision, what my job is in that moment is to say, here are the things he's probably thinking about.
Mm.
Here's one thing, here's another thing, here's another thing. And I can't speak for Rob. He'll have to do that for himself after the game. My job in the moment is to only say, here are the different variables to a particular play or a particular situation. And I spend time with the manager every day. I like the manager a great deal, and I am a firm believer in managers are managing the game, but they do not win or lose the game. By and large, players win or lose the game. This is how the game works. Charlie Manuel will tell you that. He's got more wins in Phillies history because he had really, really good players, right? Mm-hmm. He had good players, and the players win the game, players lose the game. So, but my job in the moment is to simply, let's paint the picture. And that includes some good and some bad and some, somewhere in the middle.
No, I respect that, even though I felt a little bit attacked when you talked about the guy on the couch, because that Scott, that's me. That is me.
Scott, you're driving around.
Scott, that's me. But no, you're right. You're right. And everything you're saying is right, because there's a lot that goes on. And I was always curious about, for you, how is it for you? And I appreciate that, because I think that a lot of times that people don't look at it like that. We're looking at it in a vacuum. So I totally appreciate that, but I do feel attacked a little bit.
Usually I'm the one attacking you. All right, Scott, let's get your thought on something that the Phillies are barreling towards, which is a decision in their rotation. So we know Ranger Suarez is back on Sunday, which is great, and he's healthy and ready to go. But Scott, Tijuan Walker has pitched well. And look, these are good problems to have. I mean, it's always better to have more good starting pitching than less. So they have a surplus right now. And they also have a need down in the bullpen. Scott, I heard Tijuan after the game last night, and he said he's a starting pitcher, and he thinks he's pitched well enough to be in the rotation. I agree with him based on his performance so far this year. How do you think this plays out? Because the Phillies have said Rangers starting Sunday, but there's been no clarification after that.
Yeah. And I don't know when we may or may not get it today or the next day. I don't know. But obviously, I think there's a chance they'll go through every now and then with 6 starters. I really do. But I think if you examine the schedule, for instance, there's an off day Monday, and then there's an off day the following Thursday. So it's not it's not a crazy long stretch of games. Like they just came through that game, that stretch of 16 straight. They would have loved to have had 6 starters available, I think, at that point. And because again, they very much play the long view, and they very much err on the side of trying to keep guys healthy and fresh for the long haul. And I think, some articles written this week, I think they proved that point, that they're really pretty good at managing the workload so that guys stay healthy. The fact they went through a whole month using only 13 pitchers is unheard of in today's game. So I do think, somebody's got to go to the bullpen. I do believe it'll be Tijuan. I don't know when that'll be. And I don't know how that looks, because then essentially you kind of have 2 long guys, right? Can one of them, Joe Ross, Tijuan Walker, can they be a leverage guy? Pitch 1 inning in the 7th with the game on the line. I don't know. I think the thing, for any starter who turns reliever, if you want to be really used as a reliever, you got to learn to pitch back-to-back nights. Because if your stuff is not as good the second night, what good, you know what I mean? You're just not available. So I think that's going to be a learning process. I don't think it's the last start Tijuan Walker has made as a Philly. I think he'll be called upon again. I just don't know when that'll be.
Scott, I'm kind of curious because we've been having this conversation the whole week about this 6-man rotation and everything. But I would like to assume that before you even make that decision, that you have to have a conversation with Zach Wheeler before this is even, talked about publicly. Do you think that went on before we decided to go to the 6-man rotation?
Well, I don't know that anything's been decided.
Okay.
As far as the 6-man rotation. I don't think, I think they talk, they discuss things with Zach, but Zach doesn't make that decision.
Okay.
He has preferences, and they are very good about trying to ferret out what those preferences are.
Yeah, because that's what I was basically talking about, the extra days rest for him.
And they'd like to try to do that with everybody if they can,
mm-hmm.
but it doesn't always work out like that. Sometimes you have to just pitch on the day they tell you to pitch. So that's, like he's getting a week off basically because of where they inserted Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
Because, now you got Ranger pitching Sunday and an off day Monday. And so he doesn't go again until Tuesday. That's probably not his favorite thing. But that's the way they felt like it lined up the best and the way they wanted to do it. So,
gotcha.
So I don't think it's really like, well, we got to get clearance from Zach. I don't think it's anything like that.
Gotcha.
Scott, we've had a lot of different conversations so far this year about things that need to be better, whether it be the bullpen or obviously health now with all the starters and try to figure this out, and the leadoff spot and Trea Turner, and whether it be his offense or his defense. Scott, one thing that really, I don't think it's come up a lot, it came up on our show to start today, is Bryce Harper's performance so far this year. And by his standards, it's just well below what we usually see. His batting average in the 230s, his OPS under 800. Scott, what are you noticing? I feel like he's swinging and missing more, but when he hits it, I know you guys referenced the other night, the exit velocities are still good. He's still hitting the ball hard. Do you think this is just a slump, something more? What are you noticing with Bryce and his performance so far this season?
I think it's a little bit of a slump. I do think Bryce is seeing more breaking balls than he's probably ever seen in his life. And he will have to go through the process. I think he's trying to go through the process of making that adjustment. But to me, he looks like his timing is off. It looks like he's kind of jumping at things at the plate a little bit. I agree with you that if they're going to go where they want to go, they're going to need Bryce Harper to beat Bryce Harper and match up to the back of his baseball card. He's not the only one we can say that about, but the reality is that this team is built around those guys, and we can talk all we want about, we've been down this road the last few years, the three of us, talking about different players. This team is going to go because the superstars are going, because the superstars are playing like they should and producing like they should. Some of the stuff on the margins helps. It's nice. It's good. And you want to improve, and it makes you, maybe pick up a couple of wins. But if you really want to get where you want to go, you need the superstars to come through.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Scott, before we let you go, we know this weekend you're going to be doing an event with the Philadelphia Youth Sports Collaborative. Tell us about that.
Well, actually, yeah, I'm actually here right now. It's going on in the background. They're kicking off their 10-year anniversary. They're having their 24-hour day of giving today. And if you don't know what PYSC is, I encourage you to go to pysc.org. They do amazing work, and they help fund a lot of grassroots youth sports programs across the city of Philadelphia to make sure there's make sure there's equity in sports, and make sure that kids at every economic level and like I said, every zip code of Philadelphia has access to youth sports. Some kind of sports, basketball, baseball, football, hockey, you name it, equestrian, whatever it is, they're out there trying to help fund those things. So go to pysc.org, and if you can donate, we would certainly appreciate it.
Great stuff, Scott. We appreciate you hopping on, and we'll check out the website, and glad you got to tell us about that. Scott, have a great day, and we'll be listening tonight. Big series against the Diamondbacks.
Appreciate you, Scott.
Thank you, Scott.